Start by telling us your name, tell us who you are, and what it is you do, your company and what it is.
Okay. My name is Tony Clark, and I am the owner of Great Lakes Modular. I started about 5 years ago to just do contract manufacturing, design and engineering of circuit boards primarily. I kind of got in the hobby a few years back, and I just needed to make circuit boards for myself to repair my own games. And at that time, there were very few options and parts that were available. So, I kind of looked at the original designs and figured that I could do something a little bit better than what the original parts were like. So I started designing my own parts, and other people needed them and wanted them too. So I kind of got into this business that way. So.
Cool. So then tell us, give us an overview of these little parts, of what it is that you've actually made, and how these are able to repair pinball machines and the like.
Okay, well, I'll start with our classic product here. This is a ball trough, one half of a ball trough board. And in a lot of these late model Williams games, there is a little trough where all the balls are kept. And the key thing about the game is that it has to keep track of how many balls are in that trough and how many balls are out on the play field. That affects the way the game plays. And right here, this one is the original factory board. And down here on the bottom is our replacement board that we make. And even though the technology is different, the basic form factor and everything is the same. But the major difference is that our board is able to handle the vibration, and it also uses a lot less power and energy, which is what caused these original ones to fail. These big resistors here generate a lot of heat, and they're on all the time. And so the boards tend to warp, the solder joints tend to crack, and so what happens is that each one of these little LEDs will tend to fail. And when it fails, the game can no longer figure out whether the ball is really there or not. And so what happens then is that the game will say, okay, well, there's still a ball there, so I need to kick another one out. And so it'll keep kicking out balls onto the playfield over and over and over again. And the result is you get basically a game that never ends, or it just doesn't work right as it should. So I figured out what the best thing to do was just to redesign it so that it didn't use so much power, so that the board was stiffer, so it could handle the vibration, handle the abuse that it was going to get. And as a result, we've come across a product that does last and does survive. So that's what we've done with all these other boards. And basically all of the other products that we sell here are just reinventing the original product, but improving it in some way. And also helping the end user, the home user, provides a little bit more system diagnostics that the game can't deliver. So, for instance, a lot of games have kind of a diagnostic system that you can go into and get information about what's going on in the game. But oftentimes that's not enough to help you troubleshoot and repair the game. So a lot of these boards here provide extra LEDs that give you an indication of what's actually going on right there at the board, where the game won't tell you that. It'll just say, well, this switch doesn't work or this lamp doesn't work, but it leaves you up to figure out how to repair that or to actually trace the problem down. So that's kind of what I do and what we're doing here.
Very cool. Well, now, do you sell this stuff direct to consumers, direct to vendors, or?
Both. Yeah, we do operate our website, and people can come and purchase directly from us. We also do sell through major suppliers such as Marco, Bay Area Amusements, Mad Amusements, alike, and we do come to different shows all across the United States to sell directly to the audience.
Now, what about pinball manufacturers? Okay, Stern is about the only one left. Have you tried to sell your stuff to them?
Currently, I don't make anything for Stern. I do make some aftermarket parts, which are then sold through some distributors, kind of as add-ons. But generally, in this market, I don't approach large companies like that. Usually, for these types of situations, if they think that I can, fill a need for them, they'll usually approach me about projects and stuff like that.
Now, how lucrative is this business? Do you find that a lot of people want to replace their old crummy parts with superior parts that will last longer?
Well, it's not a large volume market. It's a very small volume market. You have basically two camps. You have people that they're really, for instance, they have a home user who doesn't know a lot about electronics. They have a technician that comes and works on their games for them. And a lot of times the technicians don't really want to do a lot of house calls or don't want to travel around, and so they will buy a new board, put it in those games, because that way they know that it's new, it's going to last, and that the home user generally will not have a problem with that again. Then you have the other camp, which are the people that just, it's a hobby. They buy games, they restore them, and a lot of times those people will just fix the boards that are in there instead of buying new boards. And it's still kind of a hard sell, because what I'm doing is I'm making products with modern technology, modern parts, and a lot of these parts that are in these old machines you can't get anymore. And so, but some people still want that originality in their game. They still want their game to be completely original, no aftermarket parts, no nothing. And they're just kind of a little afraid, I guess, of the newer technology, and afraid of how long that technology is going to last too. Because it's really true, the level of technology that we have today is constantly changing. And so, it's kind of a challenge to keep up with the newer parts that are always coming out.
So are you a big pinball player yourself?
I'm not a great pinball player, but I do like to play pinball. So I have about 20 games myself.
Have you ever competed in a tournament?
I did do some tournament competition a few years back, kind of as a group tournaments. So there was like 4 or 5 of us in a team, and the teams would compete. We didn't do that good.
What are your favorite pinball machines?
My favorite pinball machine, probably Twilight Zone.
Twilight Zone, why?
I like games in which I have to think about how to do the shots, how to set up the shots and whatnot, and there's just a lot of things to do in that game. So to me it just kind of has a nice, it's really challenging for one, but there's just a lot of cool things that go on, a lot of cool little toys, things that the ball does. I don't know, there's just something about that game.
Cool.
If you ask most anybody, they may not really know why they like a particular game, but it's just something that they gravitate towards. Either it's really fast, it's has a lot of flow, or they like the theme, that sort of thing.
What do you think about people coming out here and basically lending their machines for 4 days to complete strangers to play and get their grubby mitts all over a pinball they've strived to collect? What do you think about that?
I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. Just because, that's what these games were designed to do. These games were designed to be on location, be played thousands and thousands of times, And anymore, because these are complicated mechanical machines, they actually work better if they're played. And so, and it's just kind of great for the community, because, pinball is not a high-profile entertainment sport anymore, and so it's great to have little places like this where people can come back and say, hey, I remember playing this when I was growing up or whatnot. It kind of gets people interested in it again, so that's what we're trying to do ultimately, is keep the hobby alive and keep things going for as long as we can.
Now, what do you think about the turnout here so far?
Well, I think the turnout here is great. This is the first time the show's been put on, so the number of games that we've got here, the number of people that have shown up every day is really good. So I'm looking forward to next year.